Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show, and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind the scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw and I am joined as always by the puppet Yoda himself, Eric Kniss.
Fuckface. Oh, do not even compare me to that blasphemy. Frank Oz is fucking just, he's turning in his grave.
He can't turn in his grave, he's still alive! He's still alive! Oh my god. And we are joined by one of the managers of Lincoln's best comic book shop. You hear me plug them every week on this podcast, Rainbow Comics, Mr. Zach. Zach, how do you say your last name? I've never even asked you.
It is pronounced Pogany.
All right, Zach Pogany. Welcome to the Kulturecast, man.
You got it. Thanks for having me.
And we are joined, as always, by the resident DC hater, Marvel lover, my favorite Canadian filmmaker, Mr. Matt Campagna.
Thanks for having me, but I like to draw the line between shit movies and good movies. It just, they happen to have different imprints. It's a coincidence.
Okay, Kevin Feige. Okay. We can all love everything, guys. We can love everything. Oh my god. And on
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, it's not. On this episode of the Kulturecast, we are talking about Star Wars: The Last Jedi, the follow-up film to 2015's The Force Awakens, and the next film in the current Star Wars trilogy. I say current for a reason. The film is written and directed by Rian Johnson, and it focuses on the return of Luke Skywalker, the surviving Resistance forces, and the fallout from the events of the last film. And just a heads up, if you haven't seen the film yet, we will be talking spoilers.
When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power. And beyond that, something truly special.
Something inside me has always been there. But now it's awake. And I need help.
I've seen this raw strength only once before. It didn't scare me enough then. It does now. Let the past die. that'll light the fire, that'll burn the First Order down. Come on! This is not going to go the way you think. Fulfill your destiny.
I need someone to show me my place in all this.
You literally can't talk about this movie without talking about spoilers. So
No, yeah.
if you're listening to this and you haven't seen the movie, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Go watch the movie and then come back.
How didn't you already see
Because
it?
it's great.
Oh.
Because the movie's
This
great.
is a lie. This is all lies. Okay, so since Zach is the Kulturecast newbie, the Kulturecast virgin here,
Oh, God.
Zach,
Yep.
what did you think of Star Wars: The Last Jedi?
I mean, where to begin? Just so many problems. I have to obviously evaluate it first and foremost being a fan of Star Wars, but I'm not necessarily like the world's like largest Star Wars fan. Like I don't cosplay. I'm not like wrapped up in like the mythos like a lot of people are, but I do consider, Star Wars to be like a very important and like formative part of my youth, and seeing this movie completely destroyed that. I mean, I waited however many years I waited to see like one of my childhood heroes come back on screen as a Jedi Master, and this is the movie that I got. A really, really, really good way to frame how Rian Johnson completely just disregarded all of what makes Luke Skywalker such a great character. It's one of the first like opening beats of the film where he takes his father Anakin's lightsaber, the legacy lightsaber, tosses.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.
It over the shoulder, and that's the movie that you're kind of in for. Is just forget about everything that you know about Star Wars. I hate all of it. Fuck, this movie sucked. That's just like
I couldn't disagree with that more than I do.
I can feel the sadness in your voice, and it makes me sad.
I feel like, Eric, we are going to be caught in the crossfire here.
Wow, yeah, I mean, wow. For once in our career, we are the moderate ones, I feel like.
I know. I know. Okay, so with Zach on one end of the spectrum, Matt, I've talked to you already a little bit about Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Or, excuse me, The Last Jedi. Jesus Christ.
I mean, we've probably talked about The Force Awakens.
I would rather talk about The Force Awakens.
Or the absence of it in this film. But
what did you think, Matt, of Star Wars: The Last Jedi?
Star Wars: The Last Jedi is an elegant weapon for a more civilized age. It is gorgeous. In so many ways, it future-proofs the Star Wars once a year we're going to get an amazing story about this, and we're not going to see the same 3 movies rehashed over and over and over. And that was the biggest danger with The Force Awakens. Oh no, they just reskinned A New Hope. Is the next thing we're going to get just a reskin of Empire Strikes Back? And no, they subverted everything that made it feel like it could have been just another Empire Strikes Back, and yet it is somehow the second greatest Star Wars movie ever made, behind only The Empire Strikes Back. This movie is gorgeous, and it gives Luke Skywalker the poetry of Obi-Wan Kenobi's journey, and it's the way that echoes and rhymes throughout the Star Wars universe is so beautiful. This is exactly where Luke Skywalker needed to be.
All right, Eric. Oh, Jesus Christ. This whole episode is going to be... once we get out of...
It's their opinion, somebody else just sighs deeply.
I know, oh my God.
That's what this whole episode is going to be.
I'm so jazzed for this. Okay, so moving forward. Okay. Oh, man. So, Eric, what did you think of Star Wars The Last Jedi?
I mean, to put it really simply, I was kind of disappointed. There's a lot that is really great about this movie, and I can appreciate and do appreciate a lot of things that happen in this movie. But there are so many like glaring. I don't know. I guess it's it's all subjective. So what I'm gonna view as missteps or tonal shifts that shouldn't have been there, or things like that, are some things that other people are gonna love about this movie. So I mean, I don't know. For me personally, there's a lot of good in this movie, but there's also a lot wrong with it. And for me, I don't think that the good is outweighing the bad.
Oh, there are no sighs after you, though.
I mean...
Pretty middle of the road. Okay.
Yeah, after what I've already heard, that's like nothing.
Okay, so I am closer to Zach with most of this film. I think that there are some interesting ideas in Star Wars The Last Jedi. There's a lot of cool stuff that they tried to do. I applaud Rian Johnson for doing something different. He's the writer-director on this film. I can only think that the only other person who's ever been writer-director on all the Star Wars films, sole writer-director, is George Lucas. Right. So, again... And
I gotta say, this is better than anything George Lucas has ever done.
Okay, that's a lie, and you know that.
No, hold on.
That's a lie, and you know that. That's a lie, and you know that.
Just to consider the fact that Star Wars 1, 2, and 3 are garbage piles. And then Star Wars A New Hope, there's not a single actor in that movie whose face you see that's good. Like, they're all doing garbage work. It's like some of the worst work of most of their careers in Star Wars A New Hope. It broke a bunch of rules and made a bunch of things different. Great. Historically important film. Star Wars A New Hope is not a good movie. Everyone in it is phoning in a terrible performance.
Wait, so hold on. Are you saying, for the record, you think that Star Wars A New Hope is a bad movie?
Considering the number of great Star Wars movies we have, yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's fair.
It's in the bottom half. It's in the bottom half now, for sure.
Okay, a couple things. My issues with The Last Jedi, like I said, lean farther towards Zach. I didn't like what they did with Luke Skywalker very much.
What is it they did that you didn't like?
Hold on.
I just want to hear. Like, you didn't like his beard and his hair, or you didn't like it? What was it?
Just his character was what I was hoping for, and what I think a lot of people were expecting from his character were subverted. And again, that's Rian Johnson's choice. That is a choice from the director and the screenwriter, because again, he wrote and directed the film. So he allowed himself to write and direct this whole film. So that's his choice. Mark Hamill said, hey, I don't even agree with this. And again, that's fine. Mark Hamill, he's an actor. He doesn't get a say, really, unfortunately, with Star Wars now because of who owns it and who controls it. My issue with this film, however, is it is a film that is very similar to Empire Strikes Back. It tries not to be. It does a lot of stuff different, but at the end of the day, there are large parts of this movie that are not good. Everything on Canto Bight felt like a fucking prequel film.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective an opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Any of the characters from The Force Awakens are given little to nothing to do. Finn, Poe Dameron.
Okay, Poe Dameron learns the most important lesson out of everyone in this movie.
Which is apparently don't fight Laura Dern because she's not going to tell you what she's doing in the background and get a bunch of people killed.
No, goddamn! Did you even watch the movie? The whole story about Laura Dern and Finn and Poe is that if you're within the rebellion, the precious few of you cannot fight within, because if you do, your stupid plan that has Finn and Rose get DJ and DJ spills the beans to Hux and then Hux kills all the people that you were going to safely get using Laura Dern's plan to the surface, shit, you mustn't fight within yourselves. Like, it's such a clear message, and Poe Dameron learns it by the end, but you didn't pick up on it?
What I thought Poe Dameron learned by the end was look farther back into the
Laura
cave.
Dern is just as complicit in the murder of all of the resistance herself, because the easiest plot hole that should have been solved in this movie is that, like, oh, I'm just going to tell you what the plan is so I don't try and subvert your plan in the first place.
But it's not her place as the boss to have to tell some low-level captain what the plan is.
But he was a commander before Leia went and...
Yeah,
oh my God. I don't even want to
he
talk about
wasn't in that
Superman
moment.
Leia yet. Let's not even go there.
He wasn't in that moment. In that moment, he was a captain, and his job was to listen, not to be brought in on the plan. If he wanted to be a commander, he should have acted like one. But he acted like a dumb flyboy. And it was a very important lesson for Poe Dameron to learn, and he did. It just cost hundreds of lives and like a third of the resistance, but Poe Dameron, the idiot, became Poe Dameron, the slightly less idiot.
Okay, you want to know what my actual problem with this film is? And this is just for me, and this is something that I've seen echoed by not everybody, but a fair amount of people. And this is something that I honestly feel like, you know, again, this is something that a lot of people are applauding, and this is something that I think is an issue. The prequels are bad, but the prequels were all written by one person. So they had a unified idea and a unified theme throughout, right? We can all agree on that. Whether or not it was executed well is a different story, because for the most part, it wasn't executed well. However, you have J.J. Abrams, who writes The Force Awakens, and then you have Rian Johnson, who writes this film. Wildly different films. Wildly different.
Hold on,
wait, hold on. Wildly different
tones. Can you tell me who wrote Star Wars: A New Hope?
George Lucas.
Can you tell me who wrote?
I know.
Who directed? But yeah, so
I know
the good trilogy.
But the problem is Empire Strikes Back feels like a film that would follow A New Hope. This film doesn't feel like a film that would follow The Force Awakens. That's the problem here.
It absolutely does. Oh my God, in every way. Right down to some of the weird, bizarre comedy. Right down to the weird, bizarre comedy.
Oh, the comedy in this film is so cringe. It is
the comedy
that was
in this
the
film
worst.
is
That was one of the...
The comedy in this film is lifted out of Force Awakens.
No, it is way more. Comedy. It is way different than the comedy in Force Awakens.
Okay, hold on.
The comedy in The Force Awakens is a little bit more subtle and not as overbearing. Nobody's making your mama jokes in The Force Awakens and talking about Emperor General Hugs or whatever the hell Poe Dameron says.
That first moment when Poe Dameron is kneeling in front of Kylo Ren outside of Max Max von Sydow's village, and they're looking at each other, and they finally, do you talk first? Who talks first? Do I talk first? That joke is every joke in the Last Jedi. It is absolutely the same tonal comedy, and it doesn't fit in Star Wars 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But in this new trilogy, that's what comedy is, guys. We've had it for 2 years. Just look at The Force Awakens. It's in there. Same comedy.
I think my problem isn't with the type of comedy that was littered throughout this movie. My problem is that you now have characters that are historically not comedic in this fashion, that are now sort of shoehorned into being comedic relief in like a weird way that felt, at least to me, pretty forced and unnatural. I mean, I understand Luke Skywalker for the whole like first half of the movie. I can understand the argument that people say that, you know, Luke's been on this weird island by himself with a bunch of weird animals, drinking the green milk out of the weird dude's nipples for the past 30 years or whatever, and like doesn't want to talk to people, and has gotten like weird and kind of like Yoda-ish because he's away from people, and now he's just kind of like this weird kind of cranky curmudgeon or whatever. But to me, based on the shit that he's been through and like the reasons why he's cut himself off from everybody and everything, including the Force, isn't gonna make you this like weird kind of funny like goofy old guy. It's gonna make you like a pissed off, I don't want to talk to you, I'd rather like I'm not gonna jokingly throw my lightsaber like over the goddamn cliff or whatever. Like I don't know,
that it's exactly what happened to Yoda.
Right. No, and that's the argument. That is the argument, that his character totally echoes Yoda, and I totally see that. And I totally understand why that makes sense, that, you know, everything in Star Wars is kind of like this interesting, like cyclical movement where we're now...
Fuck the ring nonsense. Come on.
Well, whatever.
I know, but that's like the whole thing. It's all ring. It's all written in a ring, and it goes around, and oh my God. Talk about making your head want to explode with that. George Lucas wasn't that creative, guys. Come on.
I don't know.
George Lucas was incredibly creative. He just wasn't particularly good at executing the movie. That's why the best movies are executed by other people.
Yeah, he was incredibly creative in inventing this entire universe that all of us are.
He was super creative. He made a Death Star in the first and the third movie, as opposed to the first, second, and third.
Well, I mean, there was also a gigantic Death Star in the seventh movie. So
yep, pretty much, and that was written by J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan. Probably more by Lawrence Kasdan than J.J. Abrams, but
I guess.
Well, that one was clearly written. I mean, the reason Episode 7 felt like Episode 4 is because Disney had to prove that they can make a good Star Wars movie to make us all feel comfortable, and that's the whole reason The Force Awakens feels so familiar. And they've bought all the goodwill they need with that movie. And, you know, Rogue One was what it was, but here we are with the second episode in the Disney trilogy. And it's important for this to be something that future-proofs the series. And if all it was a total reskin of Empire, then that's just diminishing returns. You can't keep making the same 3 movies forever. They needed to completely subvert and change and break and burn the past so that they could safely say that there are new stories to tell in this universe. And I feel confidently that Episode 9 is going to be different than anything we've ever seen, because we've never been in this position before. We've never been in the position where the rebellion and the Empire are both shattered. It's such a fascinating place to be, and it's a new place to be. And that's what makes this such a brave and interesting movie.
And I totally agree with you on all of those points. My gripe with this movie is that to get there, it just doesn't do it for me. Like I wanted it to be so different, and it is. It's totally different. And it's completely different than anything I expected, which is amazing. And that's what I want out of a Star Wars movie, or out of any movie now. I mean, we've talked about this, me and Chris, and you too, Matt. Every time we talk about a goddamn Marvel movie, I'm like, it's the same fucking Marvel movie as the last 7 Marvel movies, and I'm fucking over it. My problem with this movie is that for all the new ground that it pushes, and it pushes hard, like as a person who is ready to love anything and everything Star Wars, I watched this and I walked out of the movie and I turned to my friend and I said, was that not good? I'm like still surprised at how much I didn't like a lot of this movie. And I think Rian Johnson pushes in a lot of good spots that need to be pushed. And I wanted this movie to be different, and I didn't want it to be like Empire at all, because why would you remake Empire? It's already like the best movie of all time, probably. But there are things that he pushes.
The amazing thing about Empire to consider is that Washington Post, the New York Times, and the Daily Telegraph in 1980 all hated The Empire Strikes Back because it was just a terrible follow-up to A New Hope. And here we are, 37 years later, and it's the finest Star Wars movie ever made. So I think we're going to look at The Last Jedi in 2 years, in 5 years, in 30 years, and recognize it for how brilliant it is. Because right now it's just so not the movie that came before it that it makes a bunch of people who like the movie that came before it mad. That's all that's happening right now.
Hold on a second.
That's fake news.
Oh God.
Hold on. The issue is 30 years from now, nobody's gonna remember The Last Jedi anyways. Okay, just a heads up, because there's gonna be Star Wars Episode 31 or whatever the fuck's happening then, and
at this rate,
the Skywalker shit, no one will give a flying fuck about. Okay, so 30 years from now, that's the problem with all of this, man. Like, I'm gonna get on my soapbox, man, and tell you that 30 years from now, ain't nobody gonna give a flying fuck about the Skywalkers, because we're gonna have some bullshit. We're gonna have some bullshit then.
We're 20 movies into the Marvelverse, and people still rank the best movie, and that is because they're fascinating films. And sure, the middling movies fall by the wayside.
The Star Wars universe is so much smaller than this universe. Like, the Star Wars universe is so small compared to Marvel.
Man.
It is so small compared to Marvel. It's so small, dude. It's so small.
The Star Wars universe is enormous. Knights of the Old Republic goes back 3,000 years.
It is, but guess what? KOTOR is not fucking part of canon anymore. So that's the problem here. It is huge, but sorry, everything that came before Disney is gone now. So
and that's perfect, because now we're in an age where it can be assembled with some degree of central control. And the fact that we've got 3 new Rian Johnson movies coming out in the Star Wars universe, we've got this new Lord Miller, Ron Howard, God knows who made it movie coming out with about Han Solo. We've also got an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie in the works, and we've got Episode 9 coming. There is as much Star Wars coming as we've already seen, and that's just the beginning. We're going to be getting a new Star Wars movie every year for the foreseeable future. And this world is only getting bigger.
Yeah.
Right, there's always going to be a sand planet, and there's always going to be an ice planet, but it's not ice, guys, it's salt.
The problem is like, where do we go from here, though? Like, that is like one of my biggest questions I was left after this film.
That's the best thing about it.
Where do we go? No, that's not the best thing about it. Because the fact of the matter is that I felt like this was the end of Star Wars. Like, after watching this movie, there's like where does the like narrative pick up after this? It's like everything
just like
is
the end of Empire.
Yeah.
What happens now?
Wait, hold on. The end of Empire, they had a thing that they were
not true.
Empire had like a pretty like straightforward where do we go from here, like that you go save Han Solo and you kill Darth Vader.
No.
None of that is clear. Yeah,
None of that is clear.
Come
You're
on.
only saying that because you've seen the garbage movie that follows Empire.
Oh, come on. The Ewoks are cute.
I mean, The Return of the Jedi is not, by any stretch of the imagination, a phenomenal film.
Good movie.
Good film. Yes.
Yeah, it's not really good. No, it's okay. I don't know. Like the fourth worst movie that would have been a lot better. It would have been a lot better if they would have let David Lynch direct it. That's all I'm saying. So we would have got a David Lynch Return of the Jedi. It would have been a lot better if they kept the producer that made Empire so good. Like, when you're firing producers and hiring yes men, you're on your way to making the prequels.
Like, you're on your way to making the Star Wars movies that they're making now.
That's what Disney's doing right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Isn't that what Disney's doing right now?
No, not even a little bit.
Okay.
No, they are.
Disney.
That's totally
Disney
what
is
they're
holding
doing.
Disney's holding on to the
Disney model
strong
of
producer
cinema.
they have, which is Kathleen Kennedy, and working their way through directors who are able to make the right Star Wars movie for them. And sometimes that means chewing up and spitting out directors. Like, they've fired 3 of them already. Well, 3.5 if you count. It's a team. It's maybe 4. They fired a lot of directors, but it's because they have a clear vision as producers on where this movie should go. And when the director gets yes men in the way, you get a Rick McCallum that makes all of the prequels into just garbage because everyone says, yes, George. Oh, George, that's such a great idea, George. Oh, please. Yeah, midichlorians, George. And then you wind up with those fucking awful movies. And that was the road they went down when Kurtz was fired at the end of Empire. He was the one that said, no, George, this is not an acceptable ending. You reshoot this ending. And that's why why Empire Strikes Back has a beautiful ending. And then Kurtz is gone by the time we get to Return of the Jedi, and we've got fucking teddy bears in the mix. And that's why George's movies started to get shitty right after Empire. And now we're in this beautiful renaissance where good enough is not good enough. It must be great. And that's why movies are being very carefully curated. And Disney has the deep pockets to make that happen.
Yeah.
It all feels a little corporate.
Oh, it's very corporate.
It is all very
Absolutely.
corporate.
There is no auteur filmmaking to be seen in Rogue One. That movie was directed by one director, not quite what Kathleen Kennedy wanted, and then she hired the Bourne Supremacy guy to come in and completely change the movie, and that's why Rogue One is sort of a dog's breakfast. But they are being very careful about what kind of movies they're releasing, and Rian Johnson is a great example of a director who's able to pitch the story and then deliver the story, and that's what Kathleen Kennedy's rewarding by giving him 3 more movies.
No, I mean, that's just like emblematic of like what is like wrong with cinema right now, unfortunately, is that like there isn't the ability to, like, your criticism of like, you know, George Lucas just like hiring yes men and things like that is exactly the same thing that Disney is doing right now. They're only letting people take part in these movies that are going to make safe movies that are going to print $1 gazillion, and that's the end of it. I mean, we have like the same like formulaic Disney Marvel shit happening in the superhero universe as it is happening now in Star Wars. I mean, it's just like where did cinema go to like not become art anymore? And this movie is a perfect example of that failure.
This movie is a perfect example of the willingness to not do what you just said is terrible.
But they did, though.
To make things different.
Yes, they did.
The willingness to go after not the model, to break the formula. And this movie subverts and breaks every Star Wars formula while still holding true to the ideals of Star Wars.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Totally does.
The fact of the matter that the first opening beat of the movie disregards everything we know and like about Star Wars is that like Luke Skywalker is a hero. He throws his father's lightsaber over his shoulder. He is branded as this child murdering hermit. It's like what about that is Star Wars to you? What about that is Luke Skywalker to you that you've seen in A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi?
His father was a child murderer, and his first mentor was a hermit, and his second mentor was a hermit. It's perfect. It's all of that repeating in the Darth beautiful Vader. Star Wars symbol. It's fantastic.
No, yes, I concede that point. That yes, Darth Vader did commit genocide, was a terrible person. That's the point of that character. But that is not the point of Luke Skywalker's character.
What do you mean? Like, Luke Skywalker, in that crucial moment in the throne room scene in the garbage movie Return of the Jedi, when he is ready and willing to completely, through hate and anger, strike down Anakin Skywalker in the form of Darth Vader, and then reconsiders, turns off his blade, and thinks about it. That is exactly who we saw in this film. Yeah. Ready to strike down Ben Solo, reconsider it, and not. That is exactly, in every way,
that is
who Luke Skywalker has been proven to us to be.
That is the problem with that scene right there, is because what about Luke, who saw some shred of goodness in his father, Darth Vader, the evil, maniacal, like, genocider, to, like, show mercy and let, you know, the light side of himself win out, goes to his 15-year-old nephew, who he may or may not see a hint of the dark side in him and think that it's a good idea to murder him. And then, oh, by the way, no, I'm not going to do that. What about that, like, makes any sort of, like, canonical sense in, like, what we've been established to be Star Wars?
It's perfect. Luke is weak. Anakin is weak. No, he's not. People are human. Yes, they are. Oh, my God, yes, they are. That's the whole point of these characters, that they are fallible.
No, but
I'm gonna go in the middle of you guys because that seems to be my job today. And I'm gonna agree with both of you to an extent. I'm gonna agree with Matt that yes, I want Luke to be fallible. I don't want him to be this idealized version of Luke Skywalker that we sort of have all built up in our minds over the last 30 years or whatever, because that's not interesting.
And plus, time changes you.
It does. But I also, I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is my gripe with Luke arc as a character is not necessarily that he is fallible and that he has changed and that everything that we expected from him is now sort of like not there anymore. I mean, it comes back sort of, but it's more, I don't know. It's more, I really like the idea of, how do I put this? Okay. I really like the idea of having my expectations subverted and going into this movie and not getting what I expected because I mean, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect going into this movie anyways. So I guess whatever we were going to get was going to be definitely new and exciting for me. But going into this movie and having everything so flipped on its head is definitely really jarring. The thing that irked me about this movie and about Luke's character and about a lot of this movie, for me, it was like the first half of the movie felt very like they were taking the idea of subverting your expectations so far in every aspect of the movie that they do that patented Marvel thing where anytime something like semi-important is happening or somebody says something that's like even a little bit profound and then somebody else makes a joke about it or, you know, something stupid happens or something funny happens.
But the subversion in this film wasn't undercut by humor. Arguably the greatest twist in the 20th century of cinema is No, I Am Your Father.
Oh, yeah.
And the amazing thing about this film is that we got not one but two twists of that caliber. Twist number one, huge spoiler, Snoke gets fucking murked in this movie in a beautiful way that makes it just so surprising, so brilliant, and yet so poetic because it is in the throne room scene that the Emperor dies and in the throne room scene that Snoke dies. It was so brilliant because who cares who Snoke is? It doesn't even matter. What matters?
Well, it doesn't matter
Kylo.
Now. That's the problem.
And it didn't really matter before. What mattered?
Well, we don't.
Kylo
Well,
Ren.
we don't know who the fuck mattered because we didn't get to see the second film that someone else wrote.
And in retrospect, we know that it doesn't matter. Because really, did we ever get to know, in the original trilogy, did we ever get to know who the Emperor was? No, he was just some fucker. It wasn't until we went back and saw 3 terrible films that we found out who he was. And man, I wish we didn't know. And it's interesting that we got to see this version of the Emperor echoed 30 years later, where his backstory doesn't matter. He's some dark user, whatever. He was the thing that made Kylo do the thing he did, and his backstory would give us a trilogy that we would probably dislike because last time we did. And I feel like what they did with Snoke was brilliant. And the other thing that was just as heart-wrenching as I Am Your Father was your
Superman
parents are
Leia.
no one. No, your parents are no one. They don't matter. They were nobody. You're nobody.
That's okay. Hold on a second. You know that shit's gonna get retconned, right?
No way.
Are we even under the assumption that like Kylo was telling the truth? That's like the other thing.
We are 100%. We are 100% sure that unless JJ decides to popularize this, the Rian Johnson way of doing this is, that's true. Because you know what? Some kid who sweeps up on Canto Bight is also Rey. Everyone is Rey. You don't have to be special to be special. That is the message of this trilogy.
Yeah.
She's no one. And that's amazing.
But that's always been the message of Star Wars.
No, the message of Star Wars was,
yes,
your
it has.
father is almost a
Han
god,
Solo was a
god.
nobody, and then all of a sudden he was a somebody because he ran into Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, but that's not.
And Luke Skywalker was the greatest nobody of all.
Yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi was a nobody. Qui-Gon Jinn was a nobody, and everybody knows all the Ewoks are nobodies, and they saved the rebellion.
But the thing about Luke Skywalker is he wasn't a nobody. He was royalty waiting to be found. Mm-hmm. He wasn't nobody. Rey is nobody.
I agree completely with Zach here. I'm not sure that. Okay, Matt, I get that you have very strong feelings for this film. However, I will say this much. If you look at a way you write a character in the scene with Kylo Ren and Rey in the throne room, and Kylo Ren is trying to convince Rey to join him, turn her back on everything else, and join him, while yes, Rey may be of zero noble parentage, if you wrote that scene, wouldn't you have Kylo Ren say your parents are nobodies anyways to convince her, even if it's not true?
Yeah, but she knew it was true. That stuff doesn't matter. What matters is the now, because burn the past. That's the message of this film, and it's a beautiful...
That is the message of this... I think that's the message of this film, but I think the message of this film is a little much sometimes.
Oh, it's a lot much, yeah.
Or they should have just had Leia die in space and not Superman herself. Because you know what?
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Really want to burn the past and all that fucking heavy-handed shit that Rian Johnson wrote in this film, then have Kylo Ren kill Leia.
No, the whole point was that he was conflicted at the beginning of this film. The point of this was that at the beginning he was weak, and Snoke was playing off of that weakness because he had already just like a minute ago killed his dad, and he was conflicted about that. So you can't have him kill Leia because then the movie doesn't work, dude.
Yeah. No,
Kylo's entire arc is about whether or not he's able to fortify himself where he is, and he still isn't able by the end. He's still just playing off of sheer rage and instinct that he hates his dad's old ship and he hates his old mentor. He still has no real plan, and that's the incredible thing. We've never had the head of the Empire be an impetuous kid with no plan. That's amazing.
I think the things that irk me about this movie are not plot points, except for all of Canto Bight. That didn't need to exist, and I think it's a wasted 30 minutes.
Oh, come on,
and it was
Matt.
also just a complete waste of a great actor in Benicio del Toro, too. It's just like, what was the point of that character at all?
Why even cast him?
Okay, would anyone like me to explain the point of the character?
Oh, dear God.
The point of DJ,
please do.
The point of DJ was to show us that the cynicism that can put you into a complete moral ambiguity doesn't give you anything resembling a high horse to be on. It just makes you a part of the problem. You're willing to throw everyone and everything under the bus for your own personal gain because you have no higher calling. You have no association that you care to be loyal to. You have no honor. And that was the thing about DJ.
Lando Calrissian in Empire Strikes Back.
Lando Calrissian is a mayor looking after his people, trying to make sure that nobody under his care is hurt by the Empire. DJ is looking after only himself. Totally different character.
Yeah, I agree.
Fundamentally different character.
Yeah.
He's a fundamentally different character, but I agree with Zach. That whole Canto Bight stuff, man, is just it is CGI nonsense with fucking horse monsters and hey, Isn't it, guys? The biggest success here is that we saved one of the horse monsters. Okay, come on, guys. Like, this is so goofy. This is goofy shit.
No,
and
so
not even that.
essential.
They take Finn away. Like, Finn, whose character is one of the better parts of The Force Awakens, and they give him nothing to do in this film.
They give him so much to do.
That's one of the biggest offenses of this entire new trilogy, is that now it has been established that the purpose of that character was only to ever be a red herring to set up Rey as being the actual, like, Jedi in the movie. It's like you introduce a new character who is somewhat interesting, has an interesting backstory, but he was only ever used as trailer bait to confuse audiences to think that he was a Jedi. It's just like...
And in this film, he had an awesome story. In this film, he had a love story. In this film, he had a mission. In this film, he went undercover. In this mission, we got to see through his eyes. We got to see, for one of the first times in a Star Wars movie, we really got to see people on the ground and how they are affected by this rebel versus Empire, this resistance versus First Order bullshit that's been happening on the surface in every one of these movies. We got to see the kids, the people who are affected by this on the ground. And we got to see that even the nobody who grabs a broom using the Force is the next hope, that all of these people, like Rey, can come from nowhere, can come from no one, and be something important.
Okay, we need to take a fucking break, so let's take a break, and when we get back, this is the most heated goddamn podcast we've ever had, for sure. When we come back, we'll finish up talking about the film.
Who is Carl Kolchak?
He's a reporter.
Now that is news, Vincenzo. News! And we are a newspaper. We are supposed to print news, not suppress it.
With the INS.
What's an INS?
Independent news service, sir. Founded in 1904 by Enrico Paluzzi.
Who seems to have a nose for the strange and unusual.
Well, last year in Las Vegas, I uncovered a series of murders that turned out to have been committed by a vampire.
And what is the Kolchak Tapes?
It's a podcast.
All about Carl Kolchak.
What's a Kolchak?
The Night Stalker.
And where can you get it?
On iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at www.kolchaktapes.com.
As foolish a game as any that Gory the Ghoul could make up.
Movies have become a portal to a vast and growing pop culture universe, but you don't need to go over the rainbow to get your pop culture fix. Just head to Rainbow Comics, Cards, and Collectibles. They are your one-stop shop for comics, toys, posters, games, and more. Not a pop culture nerd? No problem. They have something for everyone, including a wide array of sports cards, collectible card games, even memorabilia. Stop by one of their 2 locations today. The flagship location at 3310 South Minnesota Avenue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or their newest location at 1501 Pine Lake Road, Suite 17, Lincoln, Nebraska. Most importantly, don't forget to add them on Facebook for pop culture news, weekly live videos, and special events.
Here's what some people are saying about the Projection Booth podcast.
Week after week, I'm mesmerized by the focus given great films and questionable films alike. But every episode is a learning and entertaining experience.
This is hands down the best movie podcast. They cover so many different genres across so many years, from obscure movies to blockbusters.
If there's only one podcast about movies and cinema that you listen to, make it this one.
The Projection Booth Podcast, with new episodes available every week at projectionboothpodcast.com.
Okay, we're back. Everybody got to cool down for a second, maybe, probably not. Okay, so again, we're talking about Star Wars: Last Jedi, and so it's a polarizing film. Which remember last year, Matt, when I said that the most fucking polarizing film of the year shouldn't have been a Ghostbusters movie? Why in the fuck is a Star Wars movie the most polarizing film of 2017? Get the fuck out of here, like,
because
for real.
It's brilliant, and for some reason people don't like it.
But that's the problem here is that saying for some reason people don't like it means you can't understand why no one likes it.
Here, you want me to tell you why I think no one likes it?
Yes.
I think the reason is because Star Wars has historically had a large population of huge fans, I'm one of them, that are white males. And if you take a look at the white males in this movie, they are all either undermined, killed, commit basically force-induced suicide, or put in their place by a superior, or at one point or another, and even an actor who's technically a person of color but presents white, Poe Dameron is played by Oscar Isaac, who is a Latin actor. But let's call him white because he presents as white. He's undermined 3 times by 2 different female bosses. Hux is undermined by his boss, and then undermined again by Kylo, and then undermined again when Kylo becomes his boss. Kylo is undermined by Snoke, and then betrayed by Rey, and Luke Skywalker is betrayed by pretty much everybody. Every white male in this movie is undermined. And I think a lot of white males go into this movie and see their avatar on the screen and see that avatar go through some shit and get hurt. And by the end of it, learn, but some of them die and some of them are hurt at the end with no real resolution. And I feel like they walk away from this movie and then they say they didn't like it and try to think of why, and they blame it on the humor, or they blame it on the tossing lightsaber over his shoulder at the beginning, or they blame it on the things that make them feel like it wasn't Star Wars. But really what it was that the stars of this movie were women and people of color who were awesome and really brought Star Wars into the 21st century in a beautiful way, in a really inclusive way. That Star Wars has always been about a bunch of white people saving the world from a bunch of evil white people. And now we're getting to see people of color in really cool roles. And the bad guys are all still basically just white people. And so it's interesting to see that people walk away from it a little angry at it and a little confused by it. And that makes total sense. But I think we're going to settle into this movie, and all these visceral reactions are going to go away, and we'll realize how brilliant this is.
No, and I mean, I think that's a very fair point to make too, and I definitely agree with you in the fact that this is a galaxy that is, billions and billions of people wide. Why are the only characters that we ever see on screen or have any sort of connection with just white people? No, that is a completely fair point. That is something that definitely needs to be interrogated and re-examined, and I'm glad that at least J.J. Abrams attempted to do that. Unfortunately, Rian Johnson fails to actually, celebrate people of color in this film. Unfortunately, you have 2 characters in this film, Rose and Finn. Presumably you're champions representing other races, and you just render them completely useless. What role does Finn have in the film? He's been reduced to nothing. It was only to tokenize his existence in order to serve as a red herring for a complete bullshit character in Rey, this garbage Mary Sue, where we could have had some sort of other interesting character from a different perspective or a different lifestyle. And then you have Rose, who is just some nobody, nothing technician, and you just completely reduce those characters standpoints to nothing. It's just that. That's
but Star Wars is
ultimately
about
the same sort of reductive logic that your criticized people have in this film. And I'll agree with you. That is probably the majority of why people have such a visceral reaction to this film, is because they do see themselves in a lot of these characters. That is very fair. And I mean, that's probably also the standpoint that I'm coming from too, which is probably why I have the reaction that I do. But that's the other big problem too, that I don't think people realize, is that Rian Johnson rendered people of color in this film useless.
No, I think Rian Johnson put Rose and Finn at the heart of an important side plot that fails. And how often do we ever get to see the sliver of hope fail? That's huge, man. That is cool. Normally the sliver of hope that this Mary Sue character of Luke Skywalker, who's, shot some swamp rats from a fucking, hovercraft once, the fact that guy is somehow able to use the Force after being given a drone once by a guy who was old, and is somehow able to channel the Force to shoot from his X-Wing that he's never flown before into an exhaust port, and then actually pull off something a trained pilot wasn't. Star Wars is about Mary Sues. Anakin is the ultimate Mary Sue. All of these characters never required any training. In fact, Anakin apparently was too old to begin the training. And then Luke was given, a week of training by Yoda? And Rey was given 2 days, maybe 18 hours of training? It begs the question, are Jedi even training anyone ever? Because the most powerful Jedi we've ever seen are the ones that have had little to no training. And I feel like Mary Sue is the point in Star Wars, that you can be anyone and be special.
I understand. That is obviously I don't know why I'm criticizing there needs to be more training. This is a movie about fucking space wizards and laser swords. I need to suspend my disbelief for a moment. I understand that, but it's just like not believable in the context of a film where we've seen a new character who has like been given little to no like character development, backstory, or any sort of just like, urgency to anything that they're doing. It's just like I just can't buy that. I just can't buy that. It's believable that she's the bestest Force user of all time. I'm referring to Rey. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that that's where we're going with it. But
yeah, I mean, when Qui-Gon Jinn pulls out some dumb Star Wars tricorder and says, "Oh, Jake Lloyd has more midichlorians than anyone in the history of midichlorians,"
I agree.
It's like, whoa, like that to me, that's a good solid low watermark. But I feel like if that's the world in which we're in, because we can't like retcon that away, then Rey just happens to have a shit ton of midichlorians, I guess, and that's it.
Dude, I wanted to have a rule that we don't mention goddamn midichlorians on this podcast ever again.
Oh, I want to have a rule where no one ever mentions it in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, they may not be able to retcon it, but we sure don't have to bring it up.
I second this rule. The motion carries.
It has been carried.
Podcast.
Matt, you can't tell me that there are no parts of this film that you did not like. Come on, any criticism at all?
The completionist in me does not like not knowing where Snoke came from, but I recognize that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a good part of a story to tell. And I feel the same way about Maz never explaining where the lightsaber came from.
That was my yes. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like now that the lightsaber's been destroyed, or at least cut in half and needs to be reassembled by Rey, I feel like we're never going to hear about the origin of either of those questions now.
The problem is they made that such a big deal in The Force Awakens, and in this film to come back and say, hey, it's not a big deal at all. The problem is that's where this whole my issue comes back, is you had to have a unified story. Even if you want to have different directors and writers come in, you got to tell them, hey, these are some of the beats that are already in motion. You're doing the second film. You're getting your own trilogy. So no, it's a little hodgepodgey.
I agree, it's weird because we're used to the Marvel system where it's like you said, in 2028 we're going to do this thing. So make sure that you hit all these beats, guy who's doing Iron Man 9. And I feel like they're doing something really kind of electric with Star Wars, where as far as J.J. Abrams knew, he wasn't going to be handed back Star Wars, but then he was. And he's been handed back Star Wars with a dead Snoke. And I think that's fascinating because J.J. Abrams didn't tell Rian Johnson what to do, and Rian Johnson was never going to tell Colin Trevorrow what to do. And now that it's J.J. who has it, it's really kind of kinetic and electric and fascinating that this series is written in this old school way where it's not plotted out, decades ahead of time. It's just really cool storytellers handed the end of a movie and telling the next crazy part of it. You're right, Chris. It's not planned in the way we are normally trained to think this shit should be planned out. But I kind of think that it's working really well in a way that, DC completely fucks the dog making the next movie that they never even considered while they were making the previous movie. But I feel like there's something really cool happening, mostly because of the people they're choosing to tell the stories in Star Wars.
Again, my whole thing here is I applaud Rian Johnson for taking chances. I really do. But
I agree.
The issue is just even something as small as just like this is going to be nitpicky and God forgive me, but C-3PO's red arm is gone. Mm-hmm. That this movie takes place like 10 minutes after Force Awakens.
Yeah, but he literally says in Force Awakens, oh man, people don't recognize me. I need to switch my arm. Like his motivation is given in The Force Awakens to go change his arm.
That's the ultimate problem though with these extended universes and shared continuities and things like that, is that that whole red arm thing got explained in a comic book. No one is going to read that are going to go to movies are going to read, presumably the comic book that explains how C-3PO got and then replaced his red arm. I mean,
and ultimately it doesn't really matter.
No, I 100% agree.
He had that funny silver leg for a while and nobody cared. I mean, and then he didn't. Yeah, there you go.
But that's a problem here of the whole thing, is that if this is taking place 10 minutes after, and you've got all these story beats intact from The Force Awakens, they kind of have to carry over, right?
Yeah, and I think they do quite beautifully.
I don't know.
I feel like we were told they were going to be important, and they took time out of The Force Awakens to make them important. And then in The Last Jedi, they're like, Just kidding, mofos. That's not fucking important. It's like, well, why did you devote any of The Force Awakens to any of this?
To mislead you. Why did Obi-Wan Kenobi... I call bullshit. Why did Obi-Wan Kenobi say Darth Vader killed your father? If only in the next movie we were going to find out that Darth Vader is your father. Bullshit, Chris. That is how this goes, and that's how it
like
has
a very
always gone.
meta. That was a very meta comment, like very just kind of like a symbolic comment, because Darth Vader did kill his father. Like Darth Vader did kill
Also,
Skywalker.
George Lucas making it up as he went along. George Lucas was making it up as he went along.
But it comes back to George Lucas wrote the first 3 movies. Even if Lawrence Kasdan has a writing credit, George Lucas still wrote it too.
Yeah,
and that's
but
my problem.
changed.
It doesn't feel like the same movie. It doesn't feel like the same trilogy.
George Lucas, when he was making A New Hope, did not plan on Darth Vader being Luke Skywalker's father. He came up with that in the 3 years in between. That's what happens when you take 3 years in between making movies. You come up with new ideas. He also didn't plan on Leia and Luke being sister and brother. They came up with this shit after. That is how Star Wars has always gone. It's not like George Lucas had some grand design in 1, 2, and 3, or rather 4, 5, and 6 were brilliantly told together. That shit was a moving target all the way through the 6 years he was making those.
So another big problem I had with the film, which is a very, very minor problem with the film, it's also just like a weird, nerdy just quip with it, is that, so we're to believe that like they couldn't get any sort of message out or talk to anybody or whatever, like that's fine, but we see them clearly call Maz Kanata, and whatever, that is what it is. She describes they need to go find DJ, blah, blah, blah. But if that was able to happen, why didn't Leia contact Lando Calrissian? Because we know that if Leia called Lando would have been there with a fleet of whatever he had to help Leia.
Do we know that?
That was my biggest...
Is that a thing you've read in, like, extended universe stuff? I just haven't read that anywhere.
No. I just know that, like, Lando and Leia clearly have probably a very good relationship through Lando's relationship with Han, that Lando would have been there with it in the drop.
And Lando's definitely alive?
I think so.
Lando's definitely alive? I haven't read anything about
Wouldn't
that
it be great if Lando had been on Canto Bight?
That
would have been
wonderful. To be on Canto Bight.
Okay, hold on a second. Here, wouldn't it have been great if Lando had been on Canto Bight, they had brought Lando back with them, and Lando had been the one to sacrifice himself to stop that thing from blowing the hole in the door, and he had killed himself?
I would have cried.
But like, at least
terrible.
it would have been. Oh, come on, dude. Okay, how's this? What if Wicket the Ewok had been at Canto Bight, and Wicket the Ewok had gone in a land speeder and sacrificed himself?
Hey man, if it meant I got to see Wicket the Ewok blown up, that would have been great.
Ugh.
You know Wicket's gonna team up with a Porg at some point.
Oh my god, yes! Porgs!
Okay.
Oh my god.
I'm going to say something that...
Personally, I loved the, like, fish nuns. The Octo fish nuns, those were my favorite. So judgmental.
Okay, I will say...
I hated them all,
okay.
And I wanted to kill every living creature, non-human thing that was in that movie. They all sucked, and they pissed me off.
No, I agree. Like, the creature design was terrible. Like, I didn't need to see Luke milk some fucking space cow's tits or whatever that was. Whatever, like, the humor was terrible in this movie, but I will say that, full disclosure, I did laugh at the part where Rey was training in the Force or whatever and knocked that rock off the ledge, and then it knocked those nuns' carts out of the way.
Those nuns.
I just had a reaction to, like, laugh at that part, and I was just like, God damn it, I hate that I laughed at this, but it was funny.
But it worked, yeah.
You know what I laughed at? You want to know what I laughed at the most? And this
Superman
is gonna,
Leia, that's what I laughed at.
Here comes I'm gonna get some of this artisanal salt here in a second. I laughed the most at Puppet Yoda, the best.
I love Puppet Yoda.
C'est magnifique.
So good.
Why was Yoda acting like the Why was Yoda acting like the insane character from Empire again?
Because that's the last time we saw him.
No, the last time we saw him, he wasn't acting like an insano who was testing Luke when Luke first showed up on Dagobah. That's the problem.
Oh yeah, the last time we saw him, he was dying. So it was a little more low-key.
Right. But what I'm saying is he, like, flipped from being, like, over-the-top Yoda to serious training Yoda, and then in this movie he's like, like, what?
Yeah, that's
okay,
Yoda.
fine.
That's that's the other big problem too with this film, is that it introduces two new concepts that completely kind of shatter everything we know about Star Wars. The first is that Force ghosts can affect things in the physical world. The second is that hyperspace can be weaponized. It's like,
neither of those things have ever not happened.
No, I understand that's the problem, though. I mean, if hyperspace could have been weaponized, like, why didn't we just, like, send a fucking shitload of X-Wings into the Death Star to blow them up? I mean, like, just
I feel like it's a matter of mass.
Hyperspace.
I feel like it's a matter of mass.
Sure,
that Corellian ship was huge, and like that thing probably had enough mass to actually affect what was happening. Because for it to wipe out that much, I mean, and even in the first Star Wars movie, Han talks about how you need to be careful to plot a course so we don't go through a sun. Like hyperspace, you need to plan your course so you're going through empty space. They've always said that hyperspace and space are related in that way. So I don't feel like this changed much. We just had never seen anyone think of that before. And it's cool. I'm sure people had thought of it, but because when everyone turned around and was like, oh shit, she's turning to us, they realized that this was about to happen. So I don't think Holdo invented that idea, but we certainly had never seen it in any of the previous 8 Star Wars movies. And that doesn't.
The most. I mean,
I will talk about two things. Sorry, I will talk about two things that I did enjoy about this film, which is surprising. I enjoyed Adam Driver quite a bit. I thought Adam Driver's performance in the movie was phenomenal. I thought that he just brought a lot of just like really kind of interesting and like just raw, like visceral kind of energy to the film, which is like very needed at times, or it was just like a fucking slog and it was like hard to get through.
God,
I mean,
especially that shirtless scene, I was fully at attention, if you know what I'm saying.
I was hard, but
you fucking asshole.
Fully, my lightsaber was fully unsheathed.
No, and I mean the only aside from when I laughed at the nuns, the only comedic beat that actually seemed to like hit and have like actually like good timing was like the scene where him and Hux were in the weird ship gorilla AT-AT thing or whatever it was. And he was just like, train all of your guns on this character or Luke Skywalker and kill him or whatever. And, you know, he's just firing all of the First Order arsenals at like Ghost Luke or whatever. And then Hux turns to him and he says, do you think you got him? Like that like, worked because it was like something that was a joke in universe. It wasn't like a weird like Marvel quip. It wasn't something that was like underscoring a dramatic like element. Like that was like a good scene. And it was just like so cool to see like how Adam Driver like utilized like some sort of like just like raw emotional like resonance to kind of like give you this idea that like, yes, I fucking hate Luke Skywalker. I hate the fucking Millennium Falcon. I hate everything, blah, blah, blah. And I don't agree with the criticism that a lot of people have that like Adam Driver is just like a like whiny, emo, shitty character. Like, no, Kylo Ren, I like Kylo Ren as a character. I think it's interesting, and
he got a lot of depth in this movie that was really neat.
No, and I agree. I also really enjoyed Laura Dern a lot too, which is also another problem that I have with the movie is that like they wasted Laura Dern. Like I
think it was
wanted
an interesting
more of Laura Dern's
They had
character.
to thread that needle in a very interesting way. They had to thread that needle where you can see it from Poe Dameron's perspective in your first viewing, but in your second viewing, you realize that Laura Dern is working with these other senior leadership, these senior leaders in the Resistance, that she just doesn't have to report to this guy, just like she doesn't have to report to any of the other captains. And so I agree. It was a bit of a waste of that character because she's just so neat. But
and again, my issue is Leia should have been the one who kills herself. I mean, yes, again, Carrie Fisher passing away, awful. Can't factor that into this film, but you know, you have Laura Dern, her character could have just been that replacement for Leia's leadership.
Totally.
And yet they just kind of
phenomenal actress too. It would have just been such a good, like, I mean, she has just been turning out banger after banger like the last few years. I mean,
but and see, that's where Rian Johnson played it safe.
No, I think Rian Johnson, the whole plan was always that Episode 9 would be Leia's movie.
Well, yeah, he said that.
Yeah, and so it wasn't that he was playing it safe. It's that he was playing the long game, which is Han, then Luke, than Leia. And it's a safe bet when you look at their ages. It's a safe bet when you look at the lifespan of male versus female. It's a safe bet in every way except for the fact that Carrie Fisher used a hell of a lot more drugs in her life than the other two guys. And it's a damn shame that she passed away because it would have been a really great way to do the third film. And you're right, Chris. In hindsight, if everybody knew that she was going to die when she did, then it would have made much more poetic sense to do it differently. And I wish...
And let's not pretend like they couldn't have done it in post.
I mean, they couldn't have.
That's true.
I mean... It would have been Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One all over again.
But they already did Carrie Fisher once in Rogue One. Why not just do it again? I mean, goddamn. It was awful then, just, or just have it be like Laura Dern grabs her out of the thing and then it's like, or something like that where it's like, just like, what is the next crawl going to be? Leia had to return to her home planet now?
I don't know. That JJ's in a real difficult spot for that. But they didn't want the last moment of Leia to be CGI because, oh no, she died. How do we fix this? They're going to have to sort that out in the next movie.
No, and I agree. I think like the probably understandable decision to not do that was because they didn't want to have some sort of erasure of Carrie Fisher in just some sort of post-editing thing. They wanted to give her her movie and make her the de facto star, and I understand that. That would have been a really, really shitty thing to do, to be like, oh yeah, you died. We're just gonna edit out your parts in this movie, and I know you're such a beloved character in Star Wars canon, but fuck you. We're just gonna make Laura Dern your replacement.
So we'll just wipe out a bunch of your last moments on film, and whoops, there we go. That would have been terrible.
But my honest kind of hot take as to how Leia Supermaned herself is I don't think that was Leia doing that. On closer examination,
Rian Johnson said that it's he and Carrie Fisher talked about it, and the idea that when a parent has adrenalized superhuman strength and can lift a car to get their baby out of there, it's like an instinct thing, that because Luke and she are both so filled with raw power that she just on instinct was able to use the Force in that way is what Ryan and Carrie wanted that to be.
On a second viewing, I didn't view it that way. I viewed it as I thought that was Kylo doing that.
Oh, interesting.
So I think we've beaten this goddamn horse to death. Where do we think this is going from here?
Oh, that's my favorite part. I don't really know. I mean, I'm hoping that we get a time jump now and we get to see Rey training some Jedi, and we get to see Kylo training some dark Jedi, and we see an honest holy war. Because we've never really seen bad guys and good guys, both Force users, go at it in equal numbers unless it was 2-on-2, and that's kind of boring. So I'd really like to see a straight up 6-year time jump. Kylo's got some dark Jedi, Rey has some Jedi that she's trained, and we get to see a straight up just Force battle. That'd be cool.
No, I feel like the direction that it goes.
Blown up.
I feel like the direction that it goes is going to be a very interesting one, insofar as that one of the kind of things that I agreed with in the film was, that there definitely needs to be this interrogation of the Jedi and this old tiny religion that has a very black and white binary sense of good and evil, and we need to investigate those things. Why do we consider the Jedi to be so good? Why do we consider the Sith or the dark side to be so evil? I think that was
the Jedi are
one
really
of the ideas.
shitty.
No, I agree.
Jedi are super
100%
shitty.
I agree. 100% I agree. So I feel I don't necessarily think it's such a safe bet to just automatically assume that Adam Driver and Kylo Ren is this evil, irredeemable character. I feel the interesting direction to take in the film would be to kind of reverse those roles, that Rey clearly stole the ancient Jedi tech and wants to kind of still sort of continue this idea of what the Jedi are meant to be, and this kind of ancient, almost very biblical religion, and still see that continue. And, Adam Driver kind of wants to subvert that idea and, just throw away the chains of the past and the bonds of the past, because he has one of the most biggest weights on his shoulder being related to a Skywalker and the Solos. I mean, that's you can't get more weighty than that in terms of the Star Wars universe. So I think that there's going to be a very interesting subversion of the idea of good and evil, hopefully in Episode 9. So
yeah, I hope so. I mean, in fact, a further subversion that I would have loved to have seen in this film was if Rey said yes to Kylo. That would have been cool.
I mean, that would have been I would have loved this movie. That would have been awesome.
Right?
Jesus, don't tease that and then not do it.
Yeah, it would have been really cool.
Like, fuck you, Rian Johnson. That would have been the coolest shit ever. It's just like, okay, now I'm on board because you're like, you know what? Fuck everything. You've got a legitimately interesting story here of Kylo and Ren. And what the fuck then? And yeah, that just rhymed and that wasn't on purpose. But no, I think that this is going to sound a really dickish, but I don't think Star Wars is that deep because if you go that route, you are going in like Star Trek direction of like rebuilding the world together in a gray area, and Star Wars up until this film kind of operated in a very black and white realm.
Yeah, I mean, Star Trek is for brains. Star Wars is for balls.
No, I agree. Like, Star Wars needs to operate in a very like binary sense of good and evil. Like, we don't have any sort of connection as to like what is going on. We don't care about what is going on unless there is like a clear good person and a clear bad person. Like, we don't like have that sort of drive to care about the films unless there is that sort of idea established. So unless they do something like that, which to me, I feel like this is just the fanboy in me, like hoping the direction that they go is that I hope to God we get to see Grand Admiral Thrawn set up at some point in a future trilogy. Like, I think that would be like the perfect way to like unite the forces of like good and evil against a greater evil threat. Like, if you introduce that's what I thought Benicio del Toro was. That's who I thought.
Well, that's what I thought. That's what I thought Snoke could have been. You could have had Rey and Ren teaming up to fight Snoke, and you could have had that. But again, they killed off Snoke, which is fine. But I mean, if they had said, "Hey, Snoke is Darth Plagueis. He's the most powerful Jedi Sith in the universe." And you guys have to team up because you can't beat him separately, and he's going to essentially raise the entire galaxy. That would have been awesome, but it's just kind of, a guy in a black outfit is being fought by someone with a blue lightsaber.
Right.
Okay, well, we're right back to square one again.
I don't know. The fact that the very, the second or third scene with Kylo Ren was him smashing that mask was beautiful because it's the last thing you expect from the new stand-in for Darth Vader. So cool.
No, and
I think they went a lot of unpredictable direction. And, Kylo Ren having good in him and teaming up with Rey to take out Snoke would have been like, I don't know, feels like Thundercats, man. It doesn't seem very complicated.
Well, yeah, but neither is what's been going on in Star Wars forever.
No, but what's happening now is complicated, and that's fascinating.
Maybe, until they make the third movie and Chris Terrio writes another giant fucking space laser on a planet that's a planet-sized space laser.
Guys, can we disagree if there's another Death Star that...
I'm fucking done. I'm done.
I will literally shit in the theater. Just in my... just pants chilly everywhere. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind if there's another goddamn Death Star.
I wonder if JJ can resist. I wonder if JJ can resist the calling to make another Death Star in the final film of a whole other trilogy when he got to make one in the first one. Oh, I wonder.
Please, JJ, resist.
I am 100%.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Certain that the next trilogy or the next numbered trilogy will feature Grand Admiral Thrawn. Like, they are doing a lot in the extended universe right now to kind of bring that character into the public consciousness, to really kind of establish that character. Like, Timothy Zahn wrote a book already like a new book that's in canon about him. He's on tap to like write 3 more, which just got announced.
And the character's also in Star Wars Rebels, right?
Yes, he is in the current season of Star Wars Rebels, so that's kind of going to be the big thing. It's like where that character goes at the end of this season is really going to kind of determine if there's anything. And it's such a good character too. Like if you haven't done yourself a favor and read the original Timothy Zahn trilogy,
and that's the stuff that's now in Legends because it's been removed from canon, but it's still really great stuff.
Yeah. You should, if you're looking for a good like 3-book read, definitely read the original Timothy Zahn trilogy. It's phenomenal. Like Grand Admiral Thrawn is like my favorite Star Wars character of all time. But
yeah, I fell in love with Thrawn back in I used to play like the TIE Fighter LucasArts game, and Thrawn was a huge part of one of those storylines, and I loved how just nasty that guy was. So brilliant, so neat. I'd love to see a trilogy about him.
I'd like to see Prince Shizor, let's be honest.
Oh, I like
Shadows of the Empire
a lot.
Oh yeah,
that was a good book. That was a great Nintendo 64 video game.
Yes,
I think again, with the way this film went and where this film sets up and leaves everything, I think we can all agree there will be some kind of time jump.
I hope there has to be. Otherwise, it's not going to make any sense.
Right. I think we can also agree that there doesn't need to be another Death Star.
Nope.
Unless there does.
No.
And I think we also all need to agree that there need to be more porgs.
Yeah,
I will murder
maximum
you.
porgs. There are probably more porgs on the Millennium Falcon.
California.
There's probably more porgs on the Millennium Falcon than there are Resistance members right now.
Oh.
We just need less not Baby Groots, less Marvel quips, and just like hopefully get back to basics. I mean, I understand that like unfortunately like my like criticism of the film is like couched in a lot of like the mythology and what I know about Star Wars, which probably isn't like a very fair way to criticize the film, but it's Star Wars. Like you can't like not look at Star Wars without knowing anything about Star Wars. And that's my kind of biggest thing that grinded my gears about it, is that I didn't feel like Rian Johnson cared about Star Wars. Like I felt like he was trying to write a movie about, Jesus Christ, but like disregarded the Bible. Like that's kind of where my biggest pain point comes from, I suppose. But
I mean, again, Star Wars is modern mythology, so
it is. I mean, yeah. Yep.
So, I'm there, Matt, you're right on a lot of stuff. And, again, it's the fan in me that is just making me feel this way. And I agree with Zach on a lot of stuff as well. And that's why Eric and I are sitting here kind of in the middle because, it's an okay movie with some really goofy, bad stuff in it. And those bad things,
or it's a brilliant movie that's the second greatest one called Star Wars ever. Depends on your point of view.
No, and I agree with Chris. I mean, I think that is true. I mean, I unfortunately just like care. No matter how much I say I don't care about Star Wars, I do care about Star Wars, and that obviously affected my like viewing of the film. But if I honestly had to like just really examine it, it's probably an okay movie. Like I said there was only 2 good things I liked about it. There is a third. I thought the space battle cinematography in it was like very, very well done. Like the space battle, everything, and like very, very well shot. And
that moment when Holdo turns the cruiser on the First Order fleet and it goes to silence, it might be one of the most beautiful moments in Star Wars cinematography, period. Like I genuinely just gasped at how beautiful it was. It was incredible.
It was okay.
I mean, that was just like Rian Johnson trying to be an edgelord, but I thought that like
it was a little anime-y. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, I mean, what are we gonna do? Like in episode 9 is like Kylo and gonna channel the like Force ghosts of Anakin and Obi-Wan and power his spirit bomb to defeat the like next big bad. Like I don't know, but
I hope we get Luke as a Force ghost, and I hope he like haunts Kylo. We've never had a pissed off Force ghost. It's always like, oh, good, that guy.
What if we do a Star Wars horror movie? Ooh, I mean, Marvel's doing that with New Mutants, so fuck, that'd be.
Oh dear God,
Marvel's not doing that. Fox is doing that.
They're one in the same. One in the same.
It'll be interesting to see what happens now that Kevin Feige can just undo everything Bryan Singer has ever cocked up about the X-Men. It'll be very interesting.
Oh, don't say cock with Bryan Singer, dog. That's wrong.
I guess that's not so good.
That's dangerous territory right there, but
What would you give Star Wars: The Last Jedi out of 5?
probably a 2.5, if I'm being honest. I mean, that there is some good beats in it. There is some things that like do land well. Like I said, Adam Driver's performance is something that you should definitely go to the theater to see. Like, that is just so well done. The space cinematography in it is also just like very, very well done too. Some of the comedic bits do hit, I will unfortunately begrudgingly admit, but for the most part, if you're a huge just fan of Star Wars and really, really love the canon and all of that, Rian Johnson just completely threw that out and disregarded it. And an unfortunate massacre to have to view. So, I mean, 2.5 out of 5.
What about you, Matt?
Well, I mean, I only have the one lightsaber, and I only made one Jedi robe from scratch in my life. So, I mean, I'm like a pretty huge Star Wars fan. And I'd give this 5 out of 5 because it's basically the second most perfect Star Wars movie ever made.
Behind Attack of the Clones, right?
Oh!
Ouch.
What about you, Eric?
Oh, God. This is tough, man. I don't know. I think I'm gonna give it like a 3, maybe like a 3.5 out of 5. I don't know. I mean, I really got to go see it again, but I'll be honest, man, I've been putting it off. I've been meaning to go see it. I was going to try and go see it at least twice before we talked about it, but I don't know, man. I was so bummed coming out of the movie the first time that I didn't want to be super bummed again coming out of it, because if I'm bummed twice, then I know I don't like it, and I want to like it. I want to like it so bad, but there were so many things that irked me about it the first time I saw it. So I don't know. I'm gonna give it a 3.333 to infinity out of 5. And I don't know. We'll see.
I'm going to give it a 2.5. I'm going to sit right there with Zach. Again, if you can't tell by listening to us talk about it, even professed fans of Star Wars are having a hard time coming together on this film and finding common ground. I mean, go look at the Rotten Tomato critic score versus the fan score. Go look at where the dwellers dwell on the 4chan and the Reddit boards, and there used to be IMDb boards, but they're not there anymore. But it's pretty split down the middle. It's 50-50. So for me, it's an okay movie with a lot of goofy stuff. And if you like Star Wars, you've already seen it.
Movie. Most Star Wars movies are some good
right,
stuff with some good
right. But
stuff.
it's a level of goofy shit that outweighs the okay stuff, and that's the problem for me. And that, again, I'm not saying that I won't like it in future viewings. My opinion may change. As of right now, having seen it once on opening night at 8 o'clock with yahoos behind me screaming and yelling with their lightsabers in the movie theater, that's my takeaway. So, with that in mind, what do you guys think the Rotten Tomatoes score is for the film?
Oh, I'd say it's probably got like a critic in the 90s and users in the 50s.
I'm going to go with a 93% certified fresh and a audience score of 56.
Wow, that was oddly specific. It's almost like you know what they are.
Oh.
Very
close. I don't really
close.
think about my internet club that I go to constantly.
Internet club.
I'm going to agree with you guys. It's, critics are going to say it's 90-something, and I think fans are so split down the middle that I would be surprised if it was above in the 50 percentile.
So Rotten Tomatoes has it at Rotten Tomato. The Tomato meter, the Rotten Tomato meter has the Rotten Tomato has it at 93%. Star Wars: Last Jedi honors the saga's rich legacy while adding some surprise twists and delivering all the emotion-rich action fans could hope for. And the audience score is a 55.
Wow.
With 122,000 logged ratings. So as they might say in Star Wars, Matt, the light is winning out. But only barely.
That sounds about right.
Only barely. So we'll take another break, and we're going to play a preview for the next Kulturecast, which I promise will not be as contentious as this one.
One cold night, science and evil collide. Oh yeah. Now, a serial killer is on the loose.
We hadn't even tested the acid on an amoeba, let alone a human cell. This is a disaster.
Look, I just saw something that doesn't belong in this world, and it's out there killing my friends. Now tell me what it is. Jack Frost.
I think Jack's about to make an entrance. And he's giving cold-blooded a whole new meaning.
Hey, Jack! What? You left the 7-10 split.
Hell has just frozen over. Blow me. Jack Frost.
Look, Ma! I'm a Picasso!
That's right. On the next Kulturecast, we're going to be talking about a little film called Jack Frost, and no, not the one with Michael Keaton.
Oh, disappointed.
But the one where Shannon Elizabeth gets fucked to death by a snowman with a carrot penis. So,
wow. So that's not the same one? Okay.
Why that wasn't in Star Wars is beyond me, but hey, you know what? Rian Johnson apparently didn't think that was important to put in the film.
Somebody did at some point back in 1997, though.
Right, yeah. So, I think the real question is, Zach, what is new at the Rainbow Comics shop?
Oh, there's plenty of new things that are happening right now. I mean, obviously, Wednesdays, if you're not familiar, Wednesdays are when we have new releases and new comics that come out. So that would be the best time to stop into the store and come hang out with Dana and myself. And if you're not familiar with comics, that's okay. We can definitely point you in the right direction and kind of get you reading to what you need to read. For other events and things like that we have coming up, I know January 3rd, we're going to be starting our first ever Rainbow Book Club, and we're going to be discussing the new series by DC Comics, The Doomsday Clock, which is the spiritual successor and sequel to The Watchmen. So you'll definitely want to you'll definitely want to kind of come in and pick Dana and myself's brains and all the other regulars that we have in the store about like how we feel about that, and kind of just riff about what you like about it, what you don't like about it. So yeah, come hang out on Wednesdays and buy comics and read. It's always a good thing.
And they're two cool dudes, as I can profess. I go in and bother them all the time, and
yeah, I mean,
I crank up the heat on Zach, and Zach always calls me the woke movie reviewer.
I do.
Also,
if you ever just want to talk to me about Twin Peaks, please do, because I don't ever get to talk to anybody about that TV show. So
he loves Laura Dern, guys. Come on.
I do. I do.
Yeah.
I probably love Kyle MacLachlan more than that. I also think that Showgirls is a good movie. So yeah. Take my opinion of cinema with a grain of salt.
Verhoeven only makes good movies.
God forgive me. What about you, Matt? What have you been up to?
Working away on season 2 of Tactical Girls, which is exciting. But I've also launched basically like a Netflix of my own that only has cool shit on it. So that's at highballtv.com, which is a pretty cool place to check out cool shit. Bunch of my stuff's up there, and I'm putting up a bunch of other people's awesome stuff. It's pretty cool movies, TV shows, couple of modern talk shows really are out there as well. One's about Star Trek and the Orville, and another one is about cool women, hyping cool women. It's a fun spot to watch cool stuff.
And that Orville Star Trek one is a good one, because I watch it every week.
I'm glad you like it. Yeah, it's fun. We started out with just like pitting the Orville directly against Star Trek Discovery because they were out at the same time, and then it just sort of turned into a review show for the Orville, and in the new year it'll be a review show for Star Trek. But it's all basically circling back to Gene Roddenberry's original idea of aspirational philosophy couched in science fiction, and how well Star Trek Discovery and the Orville are accomplishing that vision.
And how one is essentially just Game of Thrones in space now.
Yeah, but Game of Thrones is written well.
Oh.
Yikes.
Shots fired.
Okay.
All right. What about you, Eric? What have you been up to?
Nothing. Watching Star Wars a second time because I'm scared that I won't like it. I don't know. I'm working on some new stuff, but nothing's going to really happen until after the new year. So just enjoying the last couple of weeks of the year. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure shit's real cold where you guys are, but, I'm hanging out in shorts. I'm going to go to the beach this weekend, so it's going to be nice.
Fuck you.
I was about to say, cool, dude, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it has been pretty nice in Nebraska right now. It has been like 50 degrees for like most of December, which is unprecedented. But
even in Toronto, the snow melted today. It's great.
Wow.
Oh,
God,
no,
it was so hot in California that we had fires that burned down a shit ton of homes. I shouldn't be laughing at that. It's terrible, but yeah, I don't know. Fires are a regular occurrence where I live, so I'm getting used to it, and it's not a big deal anymore. It sucks, though, for those who don't have houses anymore. Now that I've brought up a really terrible subject, somebody please help me and change it. Oh, my God!
So I have been watching the films of Daniel Day-Lewis, so that's a fun thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
Oh, what, Matt?
The other,
it's just
the other thing that
also pretentious.
No, I've just been watching them because I have never seen like any of his movies.
Don't you find them like remarkably pretentious? No. He like retires after every movie and then he comes back and you're like, oh, you didn't retire. So now when he's saying he's going to retire, you're like, yeah, sure, buddy, whatever.
Here's the problem, though. Like, he's only done that, like, what? Like
3 times?
Like 3 times, and 2 of those times I wasn't really super into film, so I don't remember it. So so now it's like, oh, you're retiring after Phantom Thread? Sure, pal. Whatever.
God, Phantom Thread looks terrible.
Apparently,
it's great.
A stroke of absolute cinematic genius, so I'm curious to see it.
The Crucible's awesome. I had never seen the movie version of it.
There Will Be Blood is great.
There Will Be Blood's awesome.
Oh God, that's so good.
Gangs of New York, it just keeps happening. You every time you look up, the movie is still happening.
Yeah. Gangs of New York is hot take. That is not a good movie. Nope. Daniel Day-Lewis is good in it, but it is not a good movie.
It might be 3 good movies, but it's just kind of hard to sit through all of it at once. Hard to say. By the end of it, you just resent that it's still happening.
In the Name of the Father is cool, and Lincoln is whatever? ?
Yeah, I mean that sure is a neckbeard.
It's Daniel Day-Lewis doing like a okay American accent.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched stuff where they said that his like accent that he does in Lincoln is like spot on and very accurate, but like okay. I mean, it's another Spielberg movie that's like, it's just a movie. Like, Spielberg has gotten into this rut of like making kind of boring period pieces like Bridge of Spies, which most people didn't even realize was directed by Spielberg.
Yeah, he just keeps like making middling perfect movies, and that's just boring.
And now he's making that movie that looks like a CGI fuckfest.
Oh, Ready Player One.
So with the guy with the long leg on the poster.
God, I saw the trailer and I saw the Overwatch character instantly appear, Tracer, and I was just like, I'm done. No, I'm good. I don't need to see this movie.
Yeah, I've heard nothing. I've heard people hype the shit out of the book, and I'm like, I'm not. Nah, this sounds just like pop culture masturbation.
I don't know. The book is great. I like the book a lot, but I have no desire to go see it as a movie. There's no way that you can actually appreciate what the fuck is even going on in a 2-hour movie or whatever. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. I specifically haven't read the book because I like to read books after I see the movies. Because otherwise I find myself in the theater thinking about what I expected as opposed to just enjoying the movie. I can always flip back a page and like reconsider a book, but the movie's going at 24 frames a second and I can't stop it. So I always do movie first, book later.
Yeah.
You should watch The Snowman then, because that was a good movie.
Don't watch it.
No.
Don't watch it.
No,
Please
I will never.
Don't watch it.
It was so bad. Oh, Michael Fassbender. They should cast Michael Fassbender and Idris Elba in Star Wars.
Oh, that'd be great.
They're probably doing that already.
Good, because maybe the two of them can finally be in a good movie.
We talk about the next great sci-fi epic that is going to be upon us, which is Denis Villeneuve's Dune. I mean, I am so excited.
I'm excited for that, yeah. I mean, Denis Villeneuve,
Blade Runner,
when he's given a good script, does something incredible. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing if they can make Dune into a good script, which has never happened. It will be really cool.
Hard. That's not true. David Lynch's Dune was actually a good movie.
Well, the problem with David Lynch, it's kind of a shit movie with a kind of a neat script, but they're like beautiful moments. But Dune is sort of unfilmable because it's all internal monologue.
That is true.
You can tell how brilliant the characters are, but then when you do that, you're not making a movie anymore. And like the sci-fi miniseries is beautiful, but you lose the internal monologue, so you can't tell how brilliant they are. I don't know if there's a right way to do it. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Denis Villeneuve is going to be.
I have faith in him after seeing Blade Runner 2049. Like, that was, oh, Jesus Christ, that movie was phenomenal.
Cool. Yeah, after seeing Arrival, I was like, yeah, if anybody currently making movies can do it, it's him. But of course, he doesn't write this stuff; he only directs it. So the thing about Dune would be you've got to have the script, because I kind of feel like you could hand the perfect script to anybody to direct, but you couldn't hand a shit script to the most brilliant director, because that's where it's going to go wrong.
They should have Chris Terrio write it. He's good.
Oh God,
he's writing Star Wars Episode 9, folks.
Yeah. Also, did we see that the Room is getting a nationwide
theatrical release? Yes.
Fuck me.
After 14 years, dreams do come true.
I feel very conflicted about that, though, for Tommy Wiseau. It's just like, he's like really jacked about it and like super excited that like after 14 years, my movie's finally going to be in theaters. And it's just like, but everyone's just making fun of you.
Yeah, it's ironic, buddy. Like, it's ironic.
I know, but I also like would never see that movie in a public theater, like at all. Like, it would just be a bunch of people just like saying, "Oh, hi, Mark," and it's just like, no.
Yucking it up, having a good old time.
Just Rocky Horror Picture style.
Was he in The Disaster Artist at all? Tommy Wiseau?
Tommy Wiseau was not. Nope.
He wasn't?
Apparently he was an after credits scene that we did not see.
Oh, he just started a new Twitter, too. So if you're looking for someone interesting to follow on Twitter, Tommy Wiseau. There you go.
Just joined Twitter. Wow. All right.
Yep.
And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at CultureStash, Eric on Twitter at TychoMagnetics, Matt on Twitter at MattCampagna. You can check out Matt's website, and that was
MattCampagna.com, as well as HighballTV.com. Both neat places for neat stuff.
I like the way you said it before. Cool places for cool shit.
Cool places for cool shit. You bet.
It's always been my dream to watch shit while I shit.
I can make that happen.
And you'll find links over to iTunes where you can rate and review the show, and to Patreon where you can kick a couple dollars our way so we can keep the fucking lights on. Donors get access to unreleased episodes, DVDs, and a chance to guest co-host a Kulturecast. Big thanks, as always, to Eric and Wavoka for allowing us to use their song Lament, my good buddy Justin Scott for allowing us to use his song Two Step, and to these two schmoes here, Matt and Zach, for sitting down and talking about The Last Jedi with us.
Anytime, man. That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
And make sure to check out the next Kulturecast.
Posted with the crew. You know how we do, I'm just two-step, drink in my right hand, phone in my other hand, getting to the money, oh man, two-step, posted with the crew, yeah, you know how we do.
Hey, two-stepping, know what I'm saying, 1, 2, 1, 2, Benjamin, aka the Black T, you know what I'm saying, catch me with my crew every day, two-step. Phone in my other hand, like, hello? Oh, get into the money, man. Yeah.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.